Back in 2003, the governor of Nevada sued the Nevada State Legislature. And the reason for it, it all stemmed from the ridiculous two-thirds supermajority requirement that we have in our state constitution to raise a penny of revenue. Now, just by way of background, Nevada is one of a handful of states where to raise any revenue, it's not good enough to have a majority of the Nevada Assembly and the Nevada Senate agree to it with approval from the governor. You need a two-thirds supermajority of both the Assembly and the state Senate to raise a penny of revenue. And this case from 2003, it shows why that provision is so ridiculous and why it causes so much harm to our state. So back then in 2003, this was the first time that this ballot measure had passed in the mid-90s and was added to our state constitution that added the supermajority requirement. And there were budget surpluses for a few legislative sessions after that supermajority requirement became law. But in 2003, there was a budget shortfall. And so Governor Kenny Guinn, he requested that we raise taxes to fund public education. Now, something else you might not know, we have an excellent provision in our state constitution that's been there since 1864 that requires the legislature to fund public education, K through 12 schools. And the legislature refused to do it, and they refused to raise taxes with this supermajority requirement. Now, a majority in the Assembly, a majority in the Senate, they approved the tax increase to fund education, but because that two-thirds didn't agree in the Assembly, they couldn't raise revenue to fund schools. And so it became a crisis situation where, they couldn't hire teachers. There was threats to Nevada's bond and credit rating. It would have been chaos. And so Governor Guinn, he sued the legislature and he won. The legislature, or the Supreme Court, said that the legislature, to fund public education, could operate under a simple majority rule, which makes sense. That's how we've done business in the state since 1864, before that ridiculous measure was put in the 1990s. And I highlight this because we're going to run into this problem again if we don't get rid of that two-thirds supermajority requirement. And just to be clear, there's a line from the Nevada Supreme Court case where it says the proponents of that two-thirds supermajority requirement, they said when they put this to the Nevada voters, this would encourage efficiency and effectiveness in government. That's a lie. The reason that it is in there is to make it more difficult to raise taxes on wealthy corporate interests. That is its purpose. It's not to go ahead and create efficient government. In fact, it's to hamstring government and result in situations where we can't fund public education. That's why that provision has to go. We have to go back to the way that we did business in this state for the vast majority of it. From 1864 to 1996, it was perfectly fine to raise revenue with a majority in the Assembly, a majority in the Senate, and then approval from the governor. That's what we have to do. Otherwise, we're just going to be allowing these wealthy corporate interests to take advantage of us. So again, I'm Tony Smith. I'm running for Nevada Assembly District 20, and I hope I can count on your support. Thank you.